Welcome back to UnJustified. This is going to be the second interview of David Collins. This interview came about 2 months after his first interview. The reason they decided to conduct this interview with him is because he did write a letter to Chris in mid-October. He was asking Chris some basic questions. What happened? Why didn't you come to me? I'll always be there for you. And I know Shanann was rough on you, and just basic friend chit chat talk. However, detectives got the letter before Chris did, of course, because they were reading his incoming mail. And so they got the letter, they read the letter, and they decided to do a follow-up or another interview with David pertaining to this letter. They said they found inconsistencies in this letter as opposed to his first interview. I don't know. What do you think?
And so this is the actual letter that he sent Chris. Chris, I am writing you this letter to possibly come visit. A lot of people are very curious and confused, but I am much more than that. You are a good friend, and I really thought you could have come talk to me. I have been through divorce and tough relationships in the past. I really could have helped you, I think. Per our conversation August the 13th at your house, on that night, I fully understood your situation. Well, at least what I thought was your situation. I know Shanann was hard on you, and so did everyone else. But dude, you could have done 1,000 things different. I know you probably reflecting this by now, but still, it tore me up to think you couldn't reach out. The CBI came to my work to interview me. I told them how great of a dude you are. You would help anybody and were a great father. I also told them how overbearing Shanann could be, and that there is no way you had anything to do with their disappearance. People were saying from your interviews that guy is guilty. I would stand up for you and say you don't know Chris. He has always been a mild-mannered guy. Come to think of it, I don't ever remember you getting mad, yelling, cussing, or anything. I do remember watching you take the girls in their wagon up and down the street. Caden says he remembers riding his bike and would stop and talk with you. He always said Chris is so nice, Dad. Ellie did like to babysit for you guys as well. Annie was completely on your side as well, buddy. Chris, I always liked talking sports and cars with you. And I still remember the first day we met at LF. And I'm sure that's Longmont Ford. I was happy to see another guy from the South that loved ACC. I believe that means ACDC. Hell, I was excited to tell you about the land I just bought down in Florida, and you guys, especially you, were always invited. We helped each other move into the neighborhood and became, I think, very good friends. I know both families were very busy and time was hard to find sometimes, but I would have always made time for you. Seriously, dude, I would have, and I hope you know that. This is part of what I am writing you today. I called the Weld County Sheriff's Office and they said I need to write a letter to you to get on a visitor list with your approval. I know you think the world probably hates you, and honestly, I think most do. But there are some of us that know the real Chris Watts and would like to come and see you. In closing, my friend, I am still confused and upset about this tragic event. Annie and I flew to North Carolina for the funeral. I can tell you it was very well done and, believe it or not, peaceful. Even though we went to pay respects, I could not stop thinking of you the entire time. We went to Fayetteville not realizing that was your hometown. We went to visit a few things like the Special Operations Museum. Being I was in that world for many years, I wanted to see it. Well, enough said, I guess, but I hope you would like to chat and want to see me as a visitor. I am not judging you or anything like that. God bless, my friend, and wish you as well as can be expected. David Colin.
Okay, now let's go right on in and let's hear the actual interview that they gave him. This was a telephone interview. They did call him to do this interview. So let's get right into that right now.
Well,
Hi, is this David?
it is.
David, is it Colin?
It's Cologne.
Okay. Hey, this is Detective Dave Baum over Frederick PD. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, I was doing some follow-up on the case. I'm the lead detective on the Watts case.
Okay.
And I was just reviewing some reports in an interview you did with some CBI agents that were helping
You
me
bet.
out. Do you recall that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm down here with the Boulder County Sheriff's Department.
Okay. What do you do there?
I'm in charge of maintenance for headquarters in the jail.
Oh, okay. Is this a bad time, or are we okay?
Well, no, I'm. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
So the reason I'm calling is because I was reading a report, and coincidentally, about the same time, I got a notification that of a letter. Do you recall sending a letter to Chris?
Yeah, I do. I just sent the letter because I called up there because Chris and I were really good friends. And the night of August 13th, we got a call from a mutual friend that said, hey, you didn't know what's going on with Shanann and the girls. And I said, I have no idea, dude. And he goes, oh, it's all over Facebook. I said, well, I don't really do that. So anyway, long story short, so I called Chris on the phone. He answered, talked to him, and he goes, the story that he had at that time was, that she left and so forth and so on. And
Right.
and I said, well, I live down the street from him. So I said, yeah, I'll come by and see you if you don't mind. He goes, sure. So went to his house that Monday night, talked to him for a while, everything else. So the reason for me prompting the letter mainly was we were really good friends. Kind of want to ask him if he can say anything or not, but when I talked to the Weld County Sheriff's Department, they said to be on the visitor list, I must write him a letter, and then he must accept me in order to be a visitor, or decline whatever he chooses.
Right.
So I wanted to go talk to him personally and say, one, why didn't you reach out to me? I mean, I'd have helped you. And then two, why? I was standing in the house, so my daughter had babysat the babies.
Yeah.
My son used to drive around on his bicycle and talk to Chris a lot. So there's just a lot of confusion on my side that I thought if I sat face to face with him, he would give me maybe a straight answer. That's kind of we flew to North Carolina to the funeral. Me and my wife did,
Mm-hmm.
and we got some closure there. I just wanted to get some closure from him because I was just confused.
Okay. So that's the whole purpose of So is it a typed letter?
I typed it on Word. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying the main reason you did that is just to like you said, get some closure and figure out what was going on, and then maybe just put this behind you, and you're hoping.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's been weighing on us pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
For since it's happened, like I said, we live right. I mean, we helped each other move into the to the neighborhood, and they came from North Carolina, and I met Chris down at. I used to have my own business, and I met Chris down at a Ford dealership. We became pretty good friends because I'm from the South as well, and
Okay.
we just kind of hit it off real well. And we like to talk, and like I said, that night I went over to see him, and he was just like, oh yeah, Shanann, Shanann, she split, she took the babies, and I don't know where she's at. And I thought it was a little odd, but I also knew Shanann pretty well. I know she was a very overbearing lady. So I was kind of, I don't say I was on his side, but I was kind of like, yeah, I can understand why you're upset, dude, and blah, blah, blah. And then I tried to keep in contact with him. And then, like you said, the CBI called me and wanted to interview me down here. So I was able to meet him at the jail, talk to them, gave them my spiel, and they asked, what was going on. I just told them, I said, Shanann was a very overbearing person. I mean, she wore the pants in that family. And because they were asking me about each person, about
Right.
their relationship, their finance. I don't know much about their finances or really the inner workings of their own relationship, but I knew both of them, and how they were. Chris was very quiet, just an easy-going guy. I mean, probably the easiest going. I never even seen him ever get mad, not once.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time I knew him. So I guess, again, back to what I'm saying without rambling on here, is, I did write that letter because the Weld County Sheriff said in order to, to talk to him, he has to accept me as a visitor.
Sure.
So that's what I was hoping to go up there, and if nothing happened, like he wouldn't see me or he wouldn't, then nothing happened. But I was hoping for a little bit of closure on that side, just kind of like, I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know what was going to be said or how it was going to be said, but I'll just sit down and ask him, why couldn't you reach out? Why couldn't you talk to somebody? Why did you have to go through all these steps? And, maybe his lawyers aren't allowing that anyway. Maybe his lawyers are, I don't know, but that's what prompted me to write the letter, yes.
Okay. I understand. That's fine. And obviously you can do that. I'm not questioning, why you wrote. I was just curious. But I do want to ask about a couple of things that,
sure.
Just a couple of inconsistencies of at least what I have in the report, the CBI report, and what your letter says. And it just, if you can kind of clear that up for me is all. And it says in your letter is that the CBI came to your job to interview, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put you told him what a great guy he was,
right.
And then but then you also made a statement, like you said about Shanann, about being overbearing, and then there was something about that you also said that there's no way he had anything to do with their disappearance. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I do, and that's how in my heart I felt.
Okay.
I mean he had me convinced. First of all, I knew Chris. So, the guy was a very mild-mannered person. At least, that's what I thought. Nobody knows what's going on in someone's brain, but I know him for, I guess, 7 years or whatever it was. When they interviewed me, I said, no, there's no way. It's just not Chris. It's just, but obviously I was wrong, so, that's where that stands.
Okay, so that was definitely your position at the time, obviously, before you knew anything.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. Then you said you guys are pretty good friends, but did you see each other very much at all, or I know you were neighbors, but
it was a yes and no. Everybody's busy. I got kids and the family and all that kind of stuff. So for we'd have barbecues or house parties, and they'd come by for a little bit because they had little ones to get them to bed early. But they ended up here and there. But we hadn't seen each other for probably a few months. I can't remember exactly. I think we talked on the phone or chatted, or I bought some land down in Florida, and I think it was in June. They're like congratulating me on, that because that's where I'm from. I'm moving back when I retire from here. But it wasn't like a lot of contact, but it was we lived in the same neighborhood, so I'd see him at the mailbox.
Sure,
mail,
right.
Yeah, and just BS with him there.
Right. It wasn't like you hung out on weekends and stuff like that.
No, not as much. Cause we're in different worlds because, our kids are older and high school kids and kind of running around doing their thing, and they got little ones. So, it was just kind of every once in a while, Ellie, who's my stepdaughter, she would babysit the little ones when they would need a hand with something and that kind of stuff. But, yeah,
sure.
that's about the size of that.
Okay. All right. So sounds good. I think I understand more of what your position is and what the letter's about. So that makes more sense. I just wanted to clear up a couple of inconsistencies. At least with the report that I have from the CBI report, it didn't have anything in there specifically like that you just explained. So I just wanted to clear it up. So that was the whole purpose for my call.
Oh, no sweat, buddy.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for me?
The only thing I got, and I don't know if it's since you've been informed of the letter, is. Are there, and maybe that's up there, I don't know, but am I allowed to visit, or did he accept that, or is it a no-no, or I don't know?
Yeah, as far as I know. That's, I don't know all the policies and procedures for the Weld County Jail as far as visitations, but I don't think he's restricted from visitors. So, obviously it's up to him whether or not he approves it. I think that's how that works. That would definitely be a better question for them.
Okay, yeah, I'll give them a call up there. That's fine. I just thought maybe they said something to you. Like, obviously, you got the letter, and they want to follow up with stuff. And I kind of almost expected a call because I understand it's such a sensitive event.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, So I wonder if they would give me a shout, questioning my letter or whatever. I didn't know the Frederick. You guys would. I didn't know if it was like Weld County or somebody. I didn't know, but
yeah.
Okay, well, I'll call the jail and see if he's been given the letter and if it's okay to, pay a visit and maybe get some closure to this. If not, whatever. But at least I know I tried.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I agree with that. So, okay. Well, great. Well, thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
No, same here. Thank you. Take care, buddy.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So what do you think about that? Do you think it's just a friend wanting to see how he's doing and what happened? Do you think it's just a guy trying to make a quick buck off of the media? Did you see any inconsistencies in the letter versus the interview? And as well, did you see a reason for a second interview? They went to North Carolina, the funeral.